Hello, welcome to the Lately in JavaScript podcast. This is episode 53, and as always, I have here with me Artur Sosins from Latvia.
Yeah, hello.
It seems to be warm over there, right?
Oh, it's getting warmer, yeah.
Yeah, probably all warm for you.
It's already like over 10 degrees plus Celsius, so it's warm.
Woohoo, 10 degrees. Over here, 10 degrees is very cold.
Yeah.
Well, but we are here to talk about JavaScript, and we are going to start talking precisely about a very interesting library. I've never seen a library doing something like this. Actually, to be honest, not even be able to replicate the claims. It is based on a paper that talks about using the Doppler effect to detect motion. Well, if I remember correctly, the Doppler effect is about sound being emitted by moving objects, and as the objects get closer or farther, the perception of the frequency is changed, and the idea here is to take advantage of that effect to detect motion. And if I got this right, this library, well, actually the author of the article wrote a library that can emit a noise, inaudible noise, a frequency of 20 kilohertz. You wouldn't listen to that noise, but if you have your computer emitting the noise and then have your microphone capturing the noise, anything that affects the distance that the sound travels, it would alter the perceived frequency of the sound wave. So they as they show here in this animation, the guy in the image is playing, is moving his hand, and since the library that he developed detects changes in the frequency, he translates those changes in the frequency as movements that then he uses to scroll the page. Well, I never seen anything like this. Arthur, what did you think of this library?
I was actually really impressed by it, and I also tried, and it seemed to work, at least for scrolling for me. And I can was impressed that you can really go to this website and try it, and you don't really have to do much. One couple of things to note when you try it. First thing is that there would be a small pop-up above that you should allow accessing microphone for this website.
Yes.
And second, you need to know where your microphone is to wave it, because you basically need to put your hand before your microphone, so this sound travels, so sound travel distance is lesser, and it's not just like in the video you wave above the keyboard. You just need to wave before your microphone. For example, my microphone was somewhere near the camera, so I tried to find it. I tried waving above the keyboard, nothing happened. I waved around the camera and it starts scrolling, and at least that one worked for me. It was really impressive. I imagine if you calibrate it properly for specific microphones, you could achieve much more.
Yeah, I think you have to use some speakers, not headphones, because headphones will not emit the sound loud enough for the microphone to capture.
True, and you also should you put your speakers or mouth and your microphone on the best sensitivity you can, because well, it's really all about what your microphone have. If you have a strong microphone, like I've had it in my notebook, it should work great.
Yeah. Well, I tried it and it started bouncing around just by itself without any movements. So I guess there were some kind of environment noise that was causing, well, this interference that would prevent the library to detect what is really the sound that is being emitted or not. But I think the idea is brilliant, and I've never seen something like this. It just proves that anything is possible in JavaScript these days.
Especially with new HTML5 APIs for browsers, lots of new possibilities.
Exactly. And this one just requires that you have access to sound and microphone. And okay, but moving on with the next topic. We are talking about something indirectly related with JavaScript. Recently, Google announced that they were starting to index differently, or at least rank differently, pages that are provide good experience for mobile users or not. So if you have a page that renders fine for desktop users, but it doesn't render fine for mobile users, it won't rank well when the users are searching for things in mobile devices. And but for Google to determine if they are able to render pages well, they also need to render parts of the pages that rely on JavaScript blocks, like for instance widgets that you have on the page, that if JavaScript is disabled, they probably won't load, but they need to load to be rendered. And if you have your robots text file blocking those resources, Google can't retrieve those resources, and so we can't render the page well. So they have announced here in this article that starting this month, actually past month, March, they will have a report in the Webmaster Tool site. For you need to log in and view that report for your site, and it will show the URLs that are being blocked and prevent Google from rendering the pages. And this is very useful. I realized that I have certain pages, certain URLs blocked. They were used to render internal ads using JavaScript, and so I had to unblock them.
But why was it blocked?
Because it didn't serve any new content, to just advertise them. And each new user would see a different thing. Okay. So now Google wants to retrieve it and see what is there, put it in place. Maybe it's an image or some text or something. And now they have this report to help you solve that problem, so you are not affected in your search ranking. And it's not just JavaScript, could be CSS, could be iframes, could be anything that is in line in the page. You just need to go there. They show a report like this. and you click here on this link and you see the pages that are affected and what pages can be need to be changed to be unblocked. Now, for instance, if you didn't want to Google to index those resources, you can just unblock them in robot text and then serve them with a meta tag no index, or there is an equivalent header no index that can help you to prevent Google to index things that are not really content to be displayed in search results. So this is an interesting use, and it is indirectly related with JavaScript. So if you are concerned with being ranked well in Google, you should take a look at these tools because they are very useful to solve these problems. Okay, now moving on to another topic, this time an interesting article comparing link tools. Let me share the screen here. So for those that are not aware of what are link tools, are tools that analyze your code and point possible mistakes that you may have had. I've been using at least a couple of these tools that they mentioned here, JSLint and JSHint, and they've been very useful to prevent some kinds of bugs, or at least annoyances. Sometimes I forgot to declare a variable as local, and it tells me all about all the variables that I should have declared. That's just an example. About the other two, JS, CSS, CS, I was not aware, and the other one, the JSLint, I'm not sure if it is not derived from
ECMAScript.
Yes, but I'm not sure if it was derived from JSLint. Oh. Anyway, I have not used it either, but it's supposed to also support ECMAScript 6. Arthur, do you usually use these tools?
Yes, basically in our continuous integration system, automated testing, linting is the first thing to do. And I think I actually went in same order that was here. I tried JSLint and it was very limited. It had specific presets and you could not really configure anything. So next thing I tried was JSHint. It was, you basically can configure anything you need, any warning there, and it also worked with Node.js and other libraries that basically I use. So I stopped at it, and we are using JSHint till now, and it's great. I didn't even try the next rest of the things.
Yeah, well, I always try both because there is hope that if one doesn't catch one thing, maybe the other catches it. But about these other two, I didn't know. Well, I'm not doing anything with ECMAScript 6, at least for now. But this other JSCS, I think I'll take a look later when I have more time to investigate. Well, I don't know about these two, but the one thing that I like about JSHint and JSLint is that they have an online version that they just can quickly paste some code and figure any errors. And sometimes there are errors that it complains that I don't want to be considered errors. I can also allow those errors, as they call them, because for me they are not really errors, just things about style and things like that. But I think it's great to always have more tools, because any new tool that appears gives ideas to the authors of the others, so they also improve their tools to match up, at least in features. Okay, now moving on to another topic. And I just want to mention briefly, there is this talk by Hadi Osmani that happened in jQuery UK conference 2015, and there's a link to the video here. I watched at least part of the video, and it is basically to mention about the improvements that are coming to Chrome developer tools.
Can you mention specific features?
Well, there is, they talk mostly about things that can help you improve the performance of your code. And, it's better to watch the whole talk, and so you can learn all about the details. One thing that I learned, I'm not sure if it was already possible, but if it was not possible, now it is possible. Sometimes you have a library that is minimized, and now there is a button that you can click and it prettifies the code, so that code can be readable. So I thought that was very interesting. I don't know, did you know if that that feature was available?
No, I've never heard of it, I think. But
yeah, but
that sounds interesting.
Yeah, because sometimes you have errors, you don't know. You can't examine the code because it's all compact.
Error on line 1, character 3000 to 400 something, then you can try to scroll and find it. Yeah, that would actually be really helpful.
Yeah, well, I'll mention the page of this talk in the show notes, but I forgot to share the screen. But it is there. There's a video about it, and it's in the site of the talk. But we are not going to watch it now, of course. Okay, so moving on with another topic, just to mention briefly something that is related again with Chrome. Okay. Basically, it is a couple of improvements that they are planning to implement, and starting Chrome 41. One is that they now will start parsing JavaScript code in parallel while the code is being downloaded, so they may be able to gain some time while all the code is being downloaded, probably from a slow source. That was one of the improvements, starting Chrome 41 and starting Chrome 42. They will be doing something that I thought that they were already doing, which is caching the compiled JavaScript code of all pages. So, for instance, if you got back to the same page and the code did not change, they do not compile it again. And that is good if you keep visiting different pages. And
but what if different pages uses the same script from the same source?
well, I don't know what is the logic here. I suppose they have to be careful to not assume that the same code is the same JavaScript code is loaded always in the same page every time you access it, because it might not be the case. But well, I'm sure this has been thoroughly tested, and they are being careful enough to not make mistakes and run the wrong cached version.
Yeah, and as you see from the text, it actually says that it mostly provides improvements for mobile devices to save precious battery, rather than you would notice the difference in desktop.
Yeah, not just speed, but also battery, because it will save the CPU time. Okay, now moving on to another article about something that personally I think it's a good idea, which is to talk about techniques of implementing what is called defensive programming. In the case defensive programming in JavaScript. The idea of defensive programming is to implement approaches that will prevent certain errors to happen, or at least help to prevent, because it may not work all the time. But if you use defensive programming techniques in any language, chances are that your code will be more robust. So the first thing that they recommend is picking a linked tool, or maybe more than one linked tool. Well, I tried several linked tools on the same code in the hope to get more warnings about things that may be wrong. As you already mentioned, using linked tools is a good idea.
But also just to use it like in the editor, so that it would be like in the real time while you're writing code, it would already find mistakes before you even make them.
Yeah, it could be. Well, as long as you use a link tool in real time while you're writing or not, it doesn't matter. As long as you use it, I think it is always a good measure. The next recommendation is to use encapsulation everywhere. So they are suggesting to use private variables. They have functions to access those private variables rather than using them. I suppose this is meant to avoid that you, for instance, type the wrong variable name and assign it, and the variable didn't exist, and you created a new variable and you are changing a different variable than you thought, and that error may go unnoticed. So if you encapsulate the access to those variables, if you call a function that does not exist, it will result in an error, rather than just accessing a variable that has the wrong name. Well, that's what I got from this suggestion.
Also, if you create a global variable, some other library can use the same name and modify the value, and then you will be looking for bugs and never find it. Why something random happens, for example.
Yes, that may happen too. And the next recommendation is let those variables be constant. In this case, they are suggesting to well, I'm not sure if I got this right. They are suggesting that if you use a variable to make some calculation and change its value, you probably run into errors. But well, I don't think this code here that they show is the same.
Yeah, you will return different value, but
yes, because some will not be altered, and here some it is altered. Well, I'm not sure what was the purpose here, because it's not just better or worse, it's different. Well, maybe I need to read this part of the article again. I don't know if what you got from this.
Nothing much to.
Yeah.
Probably more of a code maintenance kind of site that somebody else, if you are modifying the variable in a large code block and somebody else after uses it, it expects it to be like the initial value and doesn't know if it was modified or not, something like that. Probably you should create a new variable so others could use it.
Yeah. Yeah, could be it. Well, moving on, the next, they say immutability matters. Basically, what you have here is that you are in a loop and you are altering a date by adding some time, but it uses a new object every time it creates, it iterates this loop. But in this example, they suggest to use an object that allows you to add time without creating a new object. So this would probably save memory, be faster.
But underneath, I think it's all the same. The wrapper would have to recreate object either way, wouldn't it?
I don't know, because this is a new class called moment. It's not the same.
Well,
so internally, I don't know what it does.
Unless it only stores an integer time step and converts it to date for when it's needed or something like that, it also could work.
Yeah, probably. Okay, the next recommendation is string concatenation. I think this is the problem that the plus operator can give different results depending on whether you have strings or have numbers.
Integers. This is the main the main thing that every strongly typed language programmer dislikes in JavaScript or PHP, that arithmetical operators are also concatenation, and usually it's not. Yeah. I think in PHP it's dot, and then JavaScript, unfortunately, it is the same, so it may be misleading.
Yeah. Well, so they suggest to use some explicit string just to avoid that result. Okay. The next the item that shall where there is an if, and I think this is to prevent that you run into undefined behavior, because you did not consider all the other cases. So this could be applied not just to if, statements, but also switch case. You should always have a default, even if the default is an invalid case. Maybe you should throw an exception or something. And in this case, if you run this code like this, if the condition is not true, well, it would be assigning to the value to the default value. It would be the same code, but they suggest that you use this style better.
I would disagree. I don't know. I like the first style much more. If you define variable just before the condition, you either way need to initialize it with var, so it would be in the same scope. So why not give it value and write less code within the else branch? This is probably the only one I would disagree with in this article.
Yeah. Well, if you use this style, the condition is true, you would be assigning the variable twice. So.
But yeah, it is intended. So I have a default value, but if something other, then I change the value. But default value is assigned upon its initialization. I think that's the best way.
Yeah, I think they meant this in general case, not just the initialization. Maybe you do other things inside a condition statement that there should always be a behavior defined for when the case is not true. Okay, and the next recommendation is to always wrap blocks with braces. Well, you need to type more code, more braces, but sometimes it saves you from making some kind of confusion.
Yeah,
code that is not inside.
Simple mistake here would be to comment out foo, and it would execute var only upon condition.
Exactly. That could be one possibility of wrong behavior. And well, the last thing is just only the paranoid and defensive survives. Is just a comment of the author. Well, in general, well, I don't know if you need to be paranoid, but if you are defensive, it probably reduces the cost of developing and maintaining your code. If you adopt certain practices that will help you to catch bugs before they cause damage in production.
I would not wait any other reply from you, since I've heard that you're using both JSHint and JSLint on your code.
Yeah.
You are defensive also.
Now I'm going to use the other two.
Oh my god.
That's all defensive, all more defensive than you can be.
That's paranoid, that's not defensive.
No, I'm sure there are cases that one tool detects and the other doesn't.
Exactly, that's called paranoid.
Okay, that's an opinion. Well, finally you have an interesting article about a library that is supposed to be able to detect nudity in images using JavaScript and HTML canvas objects. So basically what it does is to analyze a picture and somehow reach a conclusion whether it contains nudity or not. There is a demo with predefined images, so you can click here and it says this one is not nudity. So this one is not nudity.
You can share the screen. It would be better.
Oh.
Or there are pics that you don't want to show us?
No, I forgot. It was obviously not intentional. Just because they're talking about.
Yeah, let's make the podcast not safer.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Sometimes publishing in YouTube could get a report. Oh, you are showing nudity. Okay. So this is the library, the new JS. And the examples that I was trying to show is that the demo pictures, this one, well, let's restart. This one, it says not nudity. This one, it's not nudity. This one, it says not nudity. But this one, it says it's nudity. So at least with the test pictures, it works. And how it would perform in real-world pictures, I don't know. I have not tried them. We wouldn't have the time, but I think it's an interesting library.
Especially as it's done on the client side in your browser, that's impressive.
Yeah, and I think it can be useful for many sites that need to accept pictures from users, but there could be some abuses of users sending nude pictures and cause problems to the site users. So I think this is useful. Well, now it's time to move on with the regular section on which we comment about the Innovation Award of the JS classes. And we'll talk about the winners of January that were voted in February, and then in March, the results came out. So in January, unfortunately, there was only one submission. Unfortunately, that is just what we got that month. It was actually a very interesting application called Call Me. It can establish video chat communications between the users. It was written by Anders Toth from Hungary. It was very, very interesting, and I think everybody should try it because it is very neat to see video chat working in a browser just done in pure JavaScript. And although it relies on a service called PJS. And for this, Andres picked one book of choice, Pact. And well, even this, well, despite in January there were only one nominee. The current Innovation Award ranking already takes into account also the nominees of February. And guess who is in first place?
Really hard to guess.
It
was not intentionally. It was not intentionally.
Yeah. Arthur's is leading now the ranking with just one package, but got 3 points. And followed by Ovidio Bocar from United Kingdom with one package and 2 points. Then Jason Gerfen and Anders Toth with one package and 1 point. By country, it's also nothing surprising because it's practically the same ranking of the nominees. Latvia is in first with one package of 3 points, then United Kingdom one package of 2 points, and then United States and Hungary with one package and 1 point. Well, fortunately, then in March there were some more nominations, so I hope this JavaScript Innovation Award gets more interesting, so we can talk about it next month. So with this, we practically ended this podcast. We cover several interesting news and libraries about JavaScript. And I'll just like to thank you, Arthur, again for coming. And on my behalf, that is all for now. Bye.
Bye-bye.